Hello, everyone, and welcome back to The Way podcast, where we learn in English poco a poco or podcast by podcast. Today, we are looking at episode 2 of expressions that we use in English that were invented or used in the time of Shakespeare. And that's because English is a beautiful language and it can even come from poetic authors. Okay, let's get into it.
Bienvenido al podcast de The Way. Si quieres aprender inglés y hablar con confianza, estás en el sitio correcto. Hemos ayudado a miles de personas como tú a mejorar su inglés y alcanzar sus objetivos. Visita nuestra web theway.es para conocer más sobre nuestros cursos online desde A2 hasta C1 y descubre cómo podemos ayudarte a avanzar en tu aprendizaje. Además, si necesitas una certificación oficial, también ofrecemos la opción de realizar el examen Language Pair cómodamente desde casa.
So, expression number 1 is love is blind. And how perfect that it's in February that we are talking about this in the month of Valentine's Day. Now, have you heard of this expression that love is blind? Maybe it's the same in Spanish. So, some people say that it was originally used in the Canterbury Tales, another classic English book, and some people say it was originally in a Shakespeare play called The Merchant of Venice. So let's talk about the play. The basic story is that it is set in Venice, the Merchant of Venice, and several stories come together, they intertwine. And one of them is based on Portia. Now, Portia is a beautiful, intelligent, and wealthy riqueza. So, wealthy, riqueza is the noun, but what is the adjective? Anyway, not important. Wealthy and intelligent woman, and her father passes away, and she needs to get married, right? But in order for her to get married, she wants to give the man that she marries a bit of a test. So any man that wants to marry her needs to choose correctly between 3 caskets. Let's say that a casket is a type of box, right? There's a box made out of gold, one made out of silver, and one made out of lead. Now, lead is like hierro, más o menos. Like not a expensive material, a very cheap material. And the activity of this, the point of the activity is that the man must choose the correct box or the correct casket to get Portia's hand in marriage. So that's an expression. Your hand in marriage means the acceptance to get married. All right. Then we also meet another character. His name is Bassanio, and he wants to marry Portia, but he doesn't have money. So he tries to lend. Do you remember the difference between lend and borrow? So, he wants to borrow money from his friend. So pedir a prestar. And his friend, Antonio, is going to lend it to him. Prestar el dinero. Right? But Antonio doesn't have the money either. So Antonio goes to a money lender, a man who will give him money, kind of like a bank. They're called money lenders. Another more negative word is loan shark. So Antonio goes to this loan shark or this money lender called Shylock, and this sets up the story of the play. Now, when Shakespeare explores the idea of love, he makes it clear that the way that you look and the way that things look are not important. So appearances can be deceiving. We say in English, that's the expression actually, that appearances could be deceiving. We also have an expression, don't judge a book by its cover. And that's the whole idea. So the most attractive casket, the most attractive box, the gold one, is actually the wrong choice. And it's Shakespeare who is reminding us that love doesn't always follow logic or beauty or surface level judgment. So it's not about anything superficial, and that we must look deeper. So the phrase love is blind reflects this idea. It's meant to say even the things that are imperfect, right? Someone may not be beautiful, or someone may not have, maybe there's an aspect of someone's personality that when we are in love, we tend to overlook it. We don't sort of focus on the negatives when we are in love. We look at life, we look at the person that we love with rose-colored glasses, another expression. that everything is just fantastic and beautiful and perfect, when maybe in reality it's not the case, but it's meant to be seen more as a negative, more as a positive, than a negative. I mean, guys, anyone can take the expression and make it negative and say that love is blind in a negative context and be like, look at that man, let's say, for example, he's such an idiot. And yet the person, his girlfriend, thinks he's the best thing ever. Definitely would consider that love is blind. So that's more like a cynical approach. But, it could be seen more in a positive approach. For example, I know that whoever is not perfect, but, love is blind. It doesn't matter. It's not important. So, I mean, you can also look at it from the perspective of someone being a red flag. Everyone else saw the red flags, but you know what they say, love is blind. So there are many aspects that we use that expression. But I think the important thing is that Shakespeare, even hundreds of years ago, understood that love is timeless and beautiful, and it's a very powerful thing. And, with power comes danger. Okay, let's look at the next one. Another perfect Valentine's-esque expression, and the expression is to wear my heart on my sleeve. Now, a sleeve is manga, like as in manga de camisa or camiseta, and wear is llevar. So, para llevar tu corazón en tu manga, en la manga de la camiseta. And this expression comes from the famous play Othello. Now, Othello personally is one of my favorite Shakespeare plays. It is definitely an intense story. Othello is a tragedy, right? We follow the story of Othello, who is a Moor, which is a black man, and he falls in love with a white woman. And their love is real and pure, but it gets corrupted by the villain of the story, and his name is Iago. Any Disney fans out there will also know that Iago was the name of the parrot in Aladdin. What an interesting connection between Shakespeare and Disney, right? Anyway, so Iago, the villain, is bitter and jealous and just he's a liar. He's very dishonest. And early on in the play, he says he will never wear his heart on his sleeve. And basically he means he will never show his true feelings. He will never be open and honest about how he feels. He will never express his true feelings. And it is an expression that nowadays we use it a lot. I use the expression all the time. Oh, I definitely wear my heart on my sleeve, meaning I'm very transparent about my emotions. You know when I'm happy, you know when I'm sad, you know when I'm in love. It's very easy to see how I'm feeling. And these two expressions, we use them all the time. More often than not, we use to wear my heart on my sleeve, not as a negative thing, but more as a neutral concept that you do or you don't. And actually, if you look on places like Pinterest, or if you look on Google, and if you will see that many people have tattoos of a heart on their arm, and it's the concept is to wear your heart on your sleeve. So it's become quite a powerful imagery for a lot of people. Okay, so with that, let's end today's podcast with some questions using the vocabulary. Okay, so question number 1. Do you really believe that love is blind? And if you do you think it is a good thing or a bad thing? Number 2, are you someone who wears your heart on your sleeve, or do you guard your emotions carefully, more like a poker face? And number 3, finally, have you ever looked back at a situation in your life? Maybe you were in love in the past, and you go, love really was blind when it came to that one of my exes, right? So there are your 3 questions for today. A nice natural way to add expressions, nice good expressions into your everyday vocabulary. Right, guys, we'll do another episode of Shakespeare expressions sometime in the future for episode 3, because there are so many. Shakespeare definitely is one of the main, let's say, artists of the English language. Otherwise, I'll catch you guys soon. Bye.
Si disfrutaste de este episodio y quieres llevar tu inglés al siguiente nivel, te invitamos a descubrir nuestros cursos online en theway.es, diseñados para mejorar tu fluidez y confianza en situaciones reales. Hemos ayudado a miles de personas como tú a transformar su aprendizaje. Visita ahora theway.es y realiza nuestro test de nivel interactivo de manera gratuita. Además, si necesitas una certificación oficial, también ofrecemos la opción de realizar el examen de Mid-Third cómodamente desde casa.